I hit the ground and I just start crying because I just knew. And I'm laying in the 6. My career is over.
Those first few years after you were done playing, where was your mindset? Are you an athlete?
Asked me that 5-6 years ago. My whole identity was, oh, I'm washed up. I had that in my dating profile for so long. A washed up athlete.
Yeah, well done.
I no longer feel like comfortability is complacency because I always feel like, no, I need a new challenge.
What's your job?
I worked at ESPN for 2 years and then went to the Courage right now on papers at the San Diego Wave. I hate to break it to you that you have to know there's no such thing as a dream job. You just got to figure out the type of bullshit you're willing to deal with and what the pros are that outweigh it. My New Year's resolution is to figure out who the fuck I am outside my job.
Hi, I've never felt more seen.
Am I doing this job because I love it, not doing it for the sake of poor 21-year-old Megan who got the sport ripped away from her? The identity crisis of like, do I even want to work in sports? And I really had to sit in, what do I really want to do? Yeah.
That honestly is one of the biggest no former athlete things in my brain.
No, there's also an element of like, it used to all be laid out for me too. Like you had this, especially with sports or even in school, like you move on to the next grade and then these are the classes that you take and then your training's set up for you, your schedule's set up for you. And then like you said, you get out into the real world and you're an adult and you're like, oh no, like I need to make more decisions for myself. Like I want someone else to tell me what to do.
Yes.
That's the scary part.
Okay. What is your take on athletes being good at time management?
I mean, I would say that for the most part, you're forced to. And so if you're an athlete for a long enough time, you just naturally become that way. But it just becomes like you're so controlling of your time. And for me, now I freak out if I have like too much free time. I'm like, I'm wasting my time. I'm being unproductive. I can't just sit and binge a TV show because that feels wasteful. I've learned this in therapy though, because my therapist is like, because I'll complain to her. I'm like, why do I have so much anxiety about chilling, like just relaxing? And to me, my brain defines that as wasteful. You're being lazy. And my therapist is like, what if that is actually healthy for you? What if that's actually what you needed because you're going balls to the wall like all day, every day?
Yeah.
And then you stop and you're like, this feels weird. This feels wrong. But maybe that's what you need. You need a little rotting on the couch so that you can go balls to the wall again.
Yeah.
And so that has helped me a little bit too because, I just feel like it was such a waste of time to watch 4 episodes of a TV show. God forbid you lay horizontal for a long amount of time.
Yeah. Horizontal is sometimes hard.
Yeah. It just would give me so much anxiety. I'm like, I'm being unproductive because you constantly feel like your value comes from producing something. You no longer have a good play to make or a goal to score, but it's like now as a human being, I need to prove my value in another way, and laying horizontal is not going to do it.
Yeah, if someone can't read what my stat line was in the newspaper, how are they going to know that I'm contributing to society? Not that my like high school stat line in the newspaper really made a difference in anyone's life.
You're like, no, people think I'm sick.
But like, people saw it. Like,
yeah, in your brain, you're like, they think I'm so dope.
Hi, I've never felt more seen. Well done. Well done. We're off to a great start. Learning how to rest. Mm-hmm. Because also, you have comfort in the chaos. Yeah. Your position, and again, I'm speaking this because this is literally how my brain functions. And if I open up my calendar and I have a square that has nothing on it, I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. So I'm supposed to know what I want to do in this day. Mm-hmm. And then whatever I want to do, I just go do it. Yeah. But like, who else am I basing this off of? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because normally I just show up for the team and I'm making my decisions based on what's best for the team. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if there's nobody else and I just have this full free day, panic. How am I supposed to know what I want to do? I don't know how to like listen. This is what this is actually making me think of a lot is hopefully it doesn't switch gears too much, but my relationship with food and my body and listening to when I'm actually hungry. And that's what that makes me think of is it's the same thing. Like I have to figure out what I want to do
And with the food piece as an athlete, you ate on a schedule. You had to eat 2 hours before the game or training. Then you had to eat this big meal after a game training. I literally, it hit me at like 28. I was like, I actually don't know what it feels like to like genuinely be hungry or genuinely be satisfied and listen to my body. And it has been such a journey for that piece of it, just figuring out how to eat like a normal person. I used to make that joke all the time, like I eat like a freaking monster.
Yeah.
But you kind of had to. You were just taught to fuel your body on a schedule.
Totally.
And now I'm working on like actually sitting down. I'm like, okay, am I hungry? You check if it's like that flow chart. Okay, check yes or no. Yes. Now it's like, what are you craving? I'm like, protein. I'm like, no, you don't have to be fueling your body for performance. You can actually eat like you're craving an ice cream cone. I'll eat that for dinner. Yeah,
I can do that.
It's taken me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah. And then that also pieces into all the decisions we're making on a daily basis as an adult.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, what is this rooted in? Like habits, great, right? That having habits are good.
Yeah.
But also like, where is the drive? Like what is that habit actually feeding in me? Right? So again, eating on a schedule or, even again, and then that also kind of filters into like working out.
Yes.
And relationship with working out.
Oh,
because mine's shit. I'll tell you that
You're
much.
like,
I'll tell you that much. It's getting better.
Yeah.
It's getting better. But I had that very hard cutoff after sport to where it was just like, okay, that identity's done.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't need to do that for you anymore. Now it's time to go be a physical therapist. So you're going to throw everything into that. And that needs to be my new identity line.
You feel the need to replace this title that you had for whatever 18 years of soccer player. And then all of a sudden, at least for me, I know a lot of my teammates, they couldn't get further away from the sport. But then there were some of us who needed to stay close to the sport. And I was one of them. And so I wanted my title or my identity to still be, oh, she works in soccer. Oh, she. And of course, I do want to preface, like, I didn't do everything for the sake of like what other people were thinking, but there's a lot to that when you're an athlete.
100%.
Your values judged based off what a coach, fans think of you.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're trying to figure out what you want to do for work and you're still motivated. Like you said, where is that rooted in a little bit of like perception? And so now in my job, I'm like, okay, now I get to be the girl that works in soccer. But I have to stop and remind myself, I'm like, make sure you're still doing this for you. Yep. And you're not motivated, not only by outside people, but you're not motivated by 21-year-old you who lost her ability to play the sport and was like, I'm going to work in it. And so I do have to like set that reminder almost every single day. Like, make sure you're still doing this for 30-year-old Megan and not Megan that was crying after she couldn't play anymore and said that she was going to stay close to the sport.
Right.
So yeah, it's like a constant reminder too for that.
And I think too, it's that drive of the younger. It's also, if I don't work in sport or something sports related, because for me, that was the connection to physical therapy. I was like, I don't want to be an athletic trainer. I don't want to be a coach because I don't want to be on that schedule anymore.
Yep.
But at the same time, I was like, but physical therapy can keep me connected to sports. What value is it for you to be able to be like, oh yeah, I was a D1 soccer player if you're just working a job that has nothing to do with soccer? Yeah. So who's going to validate me on the fact that I have this title? And this is what I worked for and worked towards for 18 years. And
it's also like, I can't let all those years go to waste. I need to still like bring the tools from what I just
squeeze everything out
and bring it to my next. Because I'm amazed by my friends who stopped playing. And not to say that it was easy, cut cold turkey for them. And now they're moving on to finance, whatever the hell the rest of my friends do. I know your jobs. I for sure know what you do. Yes. Yeah. But I'm like, how did you do that? And I'm sure like we talk about this and some of them, it was easier than others. But I feel the need because like you're saying, going into physical therapy, me going to continue to work in the sport, it's familiar. It's comfortable. Yeah, you're in a different position, but like, you know, the vibe, you know, the sense of humor, like, you know, the sort of banter versus if you plop me in like a finance office. I'd probably get canceled. I'm going to say something inappropriate. HR is going to be at my desk day
even
one.
Even though I work in PR, like, yes. I don't work in that kind of PR. You know
what I realized? I'm like, now being in the PR world, the PR people are sometimes the most fucked up people because we know how to handle it and we know how to like 100%. Flip the switch.
You're like, I can come back from that. It'll be fine. It'll be really fine.
In the sense of like, yeah, we know where the line is, but we have a good sense of humor, I will say, but we know how to handle it. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, sometimes my PR friends are like the funniest and have like my sense of humor, which is pretty raunchy, because we know how to like just then put the hat on and be in our PR position.
You know how to get right up to the line.
Yes. Yeah. We know where the line is. We've seen enough people cross it where we know where it's
a very distinct line.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
Yes. Yeah, there's a few lines and we know which ones not to cross. But
I love it. Megan, are you an athlete?
Now knowing which podcast I'm on, and I loved the name of it, like, I know the answer is yes, I am. Asked me that 5-6 years ago, and my whole identity was, former athlete. I'm washed up. I had that in my dating profile for so long. A washed up athlete.
Yes. Yeah.
At least athlete was still in the title, but I had to be like self-deprecating about it.
Of course.
Because I couldn't just be like, it feels wrong to say.
I'm not holding on to it.
No.
I'm not living in my past.
I didn't leave a photo of me playing from like 6 years prior. I'm like, I do not look like that anymore. Megan, we got to move on from the college soccer picture.
Yeah, because that's what we're told too, right? It's like even from a young age, I still remember when, all the sports parents are at the travel tournament. And it's like as soon as one of the, the dads or one of the moms, starts going off about their glory days, right? Oh, yes. And then everyone else like automatically reprimands them like, all right, yearbook, or whatever.
Yes.
And it's like, but why?
Yeah.
Why? That's a huge part of all of our identities. And again, I get it. Some people take it too far and you're like, okay, let's like actually just take the like things that have made you and figure out kind of the new version. But at the same time, why as a society do we feel that pressure?
Yeah.
To have to be like, compartmentalize, because we all learn how to do that really well.
Yeah.
Leave it at the door.
At that. I'm really good at that.
Leave it at the door.
Yeah.
How long, you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's like those first few years, months maybe, after you were done playing, where were you? Where was your mindset? Where was your life?
Well, for me, it got taken away from me really quickly. Senior year of college, I was told in my junior year I'd gotten a 6th diagnosed concussion, and they were like, if you have one more, you're done. And my mom was like, you're done now. Like, stop. And I'm like, no. They told me I still got a little bit more in the bank.
They said I've got one more to give.
They have one more brain cell left to fuck up. So I was like, I'm going. Because my college experience too, my first few years, I was a center back. And so everyone knows as a center back, it's like being a goalie. You either play the whole game or you play none of the game. Correct. And as a freshman, sophomore, even into junior year, like the starting center backs were only a year above me. So I was like, my best bet is my senior year, honestly, to like be a for sure starter. And so I made it to my senior year and I locked in that spot, and it was 5 games into the season. The regular season hadn't even started. We're playing against Tennessee, and I'll never forget this. My coach was like, Megan, you're marking. I like blacked her name out, but she played for New Zealand or Australia.
Might be safe. That might be good for you.
they were like, yeah, she's on like the New Zealand or Australian national team, and you're going to mark her. And this girl was bigger and taller than me, and I'm a big and tall girl. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure she doesn't get the ball. And 10 minutes into the game, I find myself on the ground having had a collision with my goalie and her. And I had gone up, and I just remember like the collision happening in the air, lying on the ground and just bawling. Like I hit the ground and I just start crying because I just knew, like when that trainer was running over, she didn't have to say anything to me. It was like bad enough in that moment that everyone knew. And I'm laying in the 6. My career is over. And I remember being walked off the field, and it was so the grief process had just started. It was literally like a part of me had died.
Yeah.
And I just knew, like, no one had to tell me I was done and it was taken away from me. And that was, again, early in the season. And I got to stay on the team and I was like, I want to go to every practice. I'm going to be there. And that year we had a ton of ACL tears. I'm not even answering your question right now.
No,
but
you're crushing. No, you're crushing.
I realized that you had a question.
No, you're crushing my question.
Riffing. We had a bunch of ACL tears. And so there was a squad of us on the sideline of injuries. Yeah. But for me, it was such a mental fuck that they all had braces on and they had x-rays and MRIs. And I just had a brain injury that there's still so much left to be studied. There were days where I felt fine. I was like, I could be out why am I on the side? Why are they telling me I can't go out there? Like, I don't have a broken leg. I don't have any issues physically. But I remember that being one of the hardest parts, because then you start to think, do they think I'm faking it? Like, do they think I'm, like, it just, you have so many thoughts.
Injury, right?
Yes.
Where people can't physically see, you don't have a brace, you're not limping. They're like, is she even working on it?
Yeah.
Like, is she even doing anything?
And this spirals into like the bigger mental health piece when people are going through mental health struggles, and we're seeing it so much more talked about, which is what I'm so passionate about. And I know you guys are too.
Absolutely.
And for athletes to be able to come forward and say, I'm not okay, is so scary, because your body's good, no broken bones, no nothing, but like there's still an element where that is so valid. Even if it's just up here, it's so valid. It hinders you of what you're able to do. So anyway, back to your question, which was, where was I?
It was that first, no, you were answering it perfectly too, because those first months, those first years after kind of that transition out of sport for you, so it was ripped.
Yes. And that's why I've said this now a lot. I felt so much unfinished business with the sport.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I didn't get to see it out in the way that I would have wanted to. And back then, there was not a clear pathway to going pro. There weren't a lot of options. I was telling my sister this yesterday. I was like, I remember playing in high school and thinking like, oh, my dream is to play on the national team, because that's the only other team I know about that if you're not in college, you play for the national team. It's like millions of girls, and then there's like 20 spots on the national team.
23.
And I was like, yeah, I could do that. But I just remember there wasn't a lot of clear paths for anything else.
Yeah.
But I did have dreams of going on after college, but of course that didn't happen.
When you were talking about your concussion, when you went down, you knew you had one concussion left to give. When you went down, you said that you just like immediately started crying so often. And I, unfortunately, across all my sports growing up, I have watched, I believe the total count was 9 ACLs torn in front of my eyeballs, either in a practice or a game of a teammate. And almost every single time it hits, they happen, they pretty much in their head know that they're pretty sure what happened. And then the tears just start going. But if you ask them if they're in pain, sometimes yes, sometimes yes. I'm not making this over, but so often it's like the tears are flying and there's not actually any pain present.
Right.
When you went down with that last concussion, did you have pain in that time, or was it just a moment?
It was purely like my emotion. It was like, it was the tears of all of the pressure and the stress. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't want to say relief or like a release, but it was almost like I knew it was coming. I had a gut feeling probably at the beginning of the year that I wasn't going to make it through the season without getting a concussion. Just knowing how I play, how much I have aerial game, kind of all of that I brought. But it was almost like a release of like, okay, it happened. Wow. And now we have to start on this new journey. But it was purely a release of emotion. there was, from what I recall, not a lot of pain, but just devastation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your no former athlete journey literally started the moment that you were laying in that 6-yard box.
Yeah, because I just knew. Like, you hit the ground.
Yeah.
And you just, like, no one needs to tell you. You know yourself. And, like, with an ACL tear or any other injury, like, so much of the time you just already know. And you almost don't want anyone to say anything. Just, like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut up. I know. It was just such a release of all the pent up emotion of anticipating this happening one day, and the day came.
Yeah. It was a when. It was a when. It wasn't like well, maybe I'll make it this season. It was like, I don't know.
And I have never thought of it that way, but I think, there was just a part of me that just knew.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't going to make it all the way.
It's really interesting that you mentioned that, like, relief/release. And it wasn't relief in the sense, because, like, some athletes have that experience where it's like they are literally relieved that they get injured because they're struggling so much with the mental health battle or with just, like, their relation to the whole thing. Like, I've heard when I first met you at the Wave event, and when Harry was talking, how when he had his injury, he literally described it as relief.
Yes.
And he was a D1, he was an Ohio State football player.
Yeah.
And when he got injured, he didn't want to be playing anymore. Did but didn't. And then it was like that relief of it. But for you, like you said, you still felt that unfinished business.
Yeah.
So it wasn't relief in the sense of, like, I don't really want to be playing anymore. But you were also living in fear on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Every time you went to practice, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But in our conversation, like, every time you went to practice, also for people that don't know, once you've had multiple concussions, it becomes easier and easier for you to get a concussion each time.
Right.
So also, like, hitting your head on a car door, you know, like something that just happens to people, you know what I mean? Can, like, be the end too.
That's exactly what it was. Like, I woke up every day, went to training every day, asking, is this the day that's going to happen? So it was like a constant fear. And going back to, like, the relief of it being an injury, it's almost like, now talking about the mental health side of things, an injury feels so much more valid to step off the field, because you don't know how to explain why you can't get out of bed because of your mental health. Like, no one can see that. Like, how are you supposed to explain that? No one's going to understand.
That's not tough.
Yeah.
That's not pushing through. That's not having mental toughness.
Yeah. But if you have a medical doctor saying, no, there's, like, something physically wrong, then that feels justified. Yeah. And that's your reason for not playing, not because your mental health is struggling, which feels way too scary to admit.
Because that's invisible, impacting every aspect of your life.
Right.
Yeah.
But people who have been around sports or maybe more antiquated, they just don't understand that. And you feel so judged, and you feel gaslit to the point of, like, maybe I'm not really struggling that much if they don't understand. Maybe it is all in my head. Yeah. But it's so valid. Mental health struggles, so valid.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of your athletic history.
Okay.
We also dabbled on it in terms of you playing D1 soccer, but just, like, Megan as an athlete growing up.
Okay.
What was she like?
Grew up kicking a ball around in the front yard with my dad at the age of 2 or 3. I still remember those days. He was my coach. So I played soccer. Like, that was my main sport, obviously, my whole life. Still is. But in middle school, high school, did swimming, basketball, lacrosse. Like, I love to dabble in everything.
Yeah.
Not to say I was any good at all of it, but I think I, like, at least had a decent, like, athletic ability to be able to run around.
Multi-sport athlete.
Yeah. So high school did, like, 4 different sports, but then in college, I'd been recruited, like, my sophomore year, junior year, signed to play D1. That was a goal. And so stayed dedicated to soccer in college. But I do remember that the track team was not compliant. They didn't have enough runners, so they actually asked some other athletes to run in a few meets. So I can say that I was a dual sport D1 athlete. I ran in like 2 track meets. I wore spikes for the first time.
Dang.
Literally put them on at the start line. And I almost ate shit because I was like, whoa, these make me fast. Like I came out of the line and I like almost fell over because your feet like stick to the ground. Yes. I was like, this is insane. So incredible. Yeah, dabbled in some 200-yard sprints that I got annihilated in.
Love.
But as an adult now, signed up for marathons.
Yeah.
A lot of it intramural teams. In Chicago, I did somehow make it onto a semi-pro team, which was so dumb. They didn't do medicals, so they didn't have to know my medical history. And that was me trying to have some unfinished business and like, oh, here's my chance to play on this semi-pro team. Edgewater Castle, shout out. But
says the girl that stopped playing because of concussions.
I know. Yeah. My mom was, I did not tell her
I was
for a long
going to
time.
say, the medical professionals are cringing. The medical professionals are dying inside
I literally avoided heading, but I thought I could play like I do in adult intramural games where I just duck and avoid the ball. I don't go up for headers. I don't try that hard. Whereas this was like legit. We had practice.
Body up with someone.
There was one moment, I mean, I was at the time 28 years old and we're playing like full 11v11s, like legit games. I was like, wait, I can't half-ass this. And I was playing against this girl who played for Penn State, I think. It was during the summer for her. Yeah. And she was so good, but I was like kind of keeping up. But she was dogging me. She definitely scored on me. And there was a moment like during a corner kick on the other end, and I was like, oh, you played for Penn State, right? She's like, yeah, I'm like a senior. And she's like, what do you do? I'm like, yeah, I have like a normal job, 401k, whatever. And she's like, how old are you? I was like 28. She's like, you kind of still got it. I go, I can't tell if that was an insult or a compliment. I'm like, what are you trying to say?
Are you surprised that I still got it?
There was a lot of surprise.
Or should I be proud that you're acknowledging my skill?
I was like, there's some judgy undertones there.
My no former athlete brain is not quite sure how to fully grasp this.
I'm like, well, I have a matching 401k, so.
Incredible.
So,
but yeah. While I still got it.
Yes. So. But that game also hit me of like, what am I doing? I have a job to go to. I don't have time to get hurt. Yeah. And that was, then I stopped playing after that because I did get close to like hurting my knee in one instance. I was like, I gotta stop. Like, this is not worth it. That almost helped me process more things of reminding myself like, you're okay. Like, you're good to move on here.
Yeah.
Like, I needed that to get to that point of like, it's okay. You don't need to prove yourself on the field anymore.
Yeah. So all those things leading up to now still exist.
Yeah.
And they still count.
Yes. Like,
you still get credit.
Yeah. Right. Because that's what you need.
For all of it.
Yeah. That's
love.
Very valid. But yeah, so I felt so much unfinished business. And so that's been my motivation for so long, to work in the sport and make a difference, no matter how small. And so that's what my motivation has been and had been. But it was still hard. I have to, again, ask myself these questions. Am I doing this job because I love it, not because you're just doing it for the sake of poor 21-year-old Megan who got the sport ripped away from her?
Yeah.
So I have to ask myself that a lot.
Yeah. Is this purely for 21-year-old Megan's redemption arc?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this serving 30-year-old Megan's actual wants and dreams and what feels comfy?
Right.
Yeah.
And
how are you doing with that?
Okay, we're getting into the good questions. No, I've been doing some like college talks and like phone calls with college students, and this helps me a lot because they're like, oh my God, you have the dream job. And I go, hold the phone. I have thought this about many jobs.
Absolutely.
And you have to know there's no such thing as a dream job. I hate to break it to you. That sounds so pessimistic, but I need people to hear that, especially like college kids, because you put a role on a pedestal and there's going to be bullshit everywhere you go.
Everywhere.
Any job you have. And I just keep telling them, you just got to figure out the type of bullshit you're willing to deal with.
Yeah.
And it's all about like the pros and cons list for me. And I've been at plenty of places where I'm like, this isn't the type of bullshit I love language.
You're like, I'm done with this bullshit.
This bullshit is not abiding by what I can deal with. And so every place has its bullshit. It's what you're willing to deal with and what the pros are that outweigh it that you're still motivated by. But you have to listen to that, because there were so many times where I was like ignoring the bullshit just because like I need to like fulfill this job title because everyone's saying it's a dream job. I was definitely motivated by the external validation of
welcome to my main driver in life.
Yes. Yeah. And I worked at ESPN for a little bit, and I really enjoyed the people I worked with, but there was a lot of motivation around the title and
I work at ESPN.
Reaction that people, oh, wow, you worked at ESPN. And you have to remind yourself, like, you're the one that has to show up every single day, sit there, cut the clips for 10 hours. It's not all that glamorous always. And so it's tough because you have that athlete mindset of like, oh, people are telling me like this is really good, and you're getting that validation.
Yeah.
Whereas, no, you have to remind yourself you're the one that has to go there every single day and do the job. And if you love it, if you love at least 51% of it, I still think it's okay. But you have to like really take stock of how it's making you feel a job. And if there's bullshit that's weighing you down, messing with your mental health, it is not worth it, no matter what your title is.
And all of us athletes are so good at knowing what we're feeling.
Yeah.
We can decide. Mask that.
No.
We never push through.
We know how to listen.
Yeah. But it is, and I think too, obviously across the board, even if you take the athlete piece out of it, across the board, you're coming out of college. The big question that everyone's always getting asked, right, is like, okay, what are you doing next? Like what are you going to do? Which again is fine. You're all hitting that time period where you have to figure that out. But as an athlete, what you're producing on the court, the field, the rink, the arena, we're so driven to be producing in a certain way, to have the external validation, to be on the starting lineup, whatever it is, that then we automatically jump to like, what job is going to make people still think I'm cool, even though I'm not playing as an athlete anymore? And then we all sit here like 10 years after, maybe a little more. And you're just like, wait, what? Like, is this job fulfilling to me?
Yeah. And I have been saying that my 2025 New Year's resolution is to figure out who the fuck I am outside my job.
Yes.
It took like 10 years for me to like have this motivation. And I do really want to preface that I feel really lucky to be able to do what I do. And my therapist helps remind me that like I wasn't just handed this. Like it is a combination of so many amazing people that helped me get to where I am, plus me working really fucking hard, because sometimes you do get in a position where you're hearing all of this validation, and sometimes you're hearing like, oh, like things just happen to you, like you just are lucky. And I'm like, yeah, I am grateful for the opportunities that I happen to have been put in front of, but I think it's because I had a mentality of like yes to everything. To a toxic point. Like I have life FOMO where I need to say yes to everything. I'm trying to roll
back.
Yeah. But I think it's because I say yes to everything. Like every weird, awkward networking event I said yes to, because I literally have the sense of like, you never know what can happen. That's why I still go out every weekend when I can, because I'm like, you never know what's going to happen.
I love that.
I have that in every aspect of my life.
Love it.
But people are like, okay, well, what's next? Like where do you've achieved that. How did that set you up for the next thing? And love my parents so much. And this is not giving them any shit, but they're both people that had really successful careers in the military and as a doctor. My mom's a doctor. So they also like, you accomplish one thing, the next thing's set up for you. So now I've had so many different jobs because each have been a stepping stone for me. So my parents are kind of wired now to ask, okay, well, what's next? So you have this amazing role right now. How is this preparing you for the next thing? What's your next goal?
Leveraging you for the next.
And I will say, like, what I do right now for the Wave really was a career goal for me that I've worked towards for 10 years now. Like this is as close as I can get to doing exactly what I was wanting to do. And so that's almost so scary to come to that realization, because you're like, I had a clear vision to work towards. And for so many years, I wasn't there, but I knew the things I needed to do to get there. And now you get there and you're like, shit, do I need to set up like a new goal? Do I need to think about something else? And it hit me one day of like, wait, what if you can just sit and like enjoy what you accomplished and like where you're at? And think about that 21-year-old Megan that would not believe that you're doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But my brain's like, no, I got to think about like what's next. Because my parents are like, okay, like what do you do after this? I'm like, what do I do after this? I'm like, this is where I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
And I really am terrified of the idea of just sitting in it and enjoying where I got and not constantly thinking about what's the next thing, what's my next goal, what's the next role I'm trying to reach for. Because sometimes when you've got to that, when you've made it, you're like, now what? I don't know what to do now. And some people who are wired, I don't want to say normally, but maybe have a little bit more healthy sense of self will tell me, fuck, enjoy all the hard work you did to get to this point. Don't keep thinking about what you need to reach for next. But that's just how my brain's wired. That's how my family has operated, which is great. It's always motivated me. I think I'm here because of that mentality.
Totally.
But then it's harmful when you get scared and you're like, it's like not enough.
Yeah, it's like honoring these things, right, that have gotten you to where you are. So I had an epiphany the other day. I even made a small post about it, which was uncomfortable, but working hard. So similarly to that, right, where it's like that, like what's the next thing? You're always working towards something else. You're always working, right? You set that goal, win the conference tournament, win the national championship, right? It's like you're always striving for that next thing. So that's how we know how to function.
Yeah.
And it's like, I posted the other day that I was like, I am no longer a hard worker. I'm a soft worker. I still am not, like, internally, but I'm trying to put it out into the universe.
Yeah.
Because also, when you do get into a position where you're doing something that feels good and feels comfortable, and you're like, and that's the sitting in it, right? Which we're not good at resting. But that's the sitting in it, and it's like, okay, why am I working so hard? Like you don't have to work hard for something to matter or for it to count.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like one of those two where it's like, I still don't know how to work soft. So it's like, I can't really say I'm a soft worker.
So the chicken comes before the egg, or the egg before the chicken. It's like, okay, I have to say it.
Yes.
You get out of being an athlete or your career, and nothing's clearly laid out for you. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning.
No one gave you the practice and game schedule at the beginning of the season for you to fill out in your calendar for the rest of the year. So how am I going to color coordinate? I have nothing to put in my boxes.
That's why I signed up for a marathon, and you're like able to write, okay, 8 miles here. And like, that's all laid out for me.
You write it all out.
Yes, I need a schedule. And now working for a team, I'm like, oh, this is great. All my weekends are already locked in. I know exactly what I'm doing, where I'm going to be. Yeah. And for me, I am still wired that way.
Yeah. So it's interesting too, hearing you say that, where you're just like, it's that sitting in it and sitting in it at least long enough to like realize, do I actually want to be striving for something else beyond it?
Yeah.
Because like maybe your parents are onto something. Like maybe you do have that next thing you want to strive for. And once you get to what you thought the end spot was, there is more that you want to do. Or maybe you sit with it and you're like, oh no, this actually feels awesome. Yeah. And this is like in right alignment with me. Yeah.
It is a really freeing feeling to actually listen to yourself and be like, no, and enjoy this. And now like, it's okay to feel comfortable, because I would confuse comfortable with complacency.
Yep.
And that's why I think, and I don't regret moving as much as I did, but I look back and I think like, there was an element of course, every job I left was because I had another opportunity. I was never leaving a place just to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But I still think back, I'm like, it's been scary for me to figure out how to stay somewhere. I graduated college in 2017. I have never lived in a city for more than 2 years, and I'm 30. And
Dang.
I grew up a military kid. We moved a good amount. I think I moved like 4 times as a kid. And then I became an adult and could make my own choices. I'm like, oh, no, you're supposed to move every 18 months.
Interesting.
And I have moved now. I mean, I look back and I've worked at ESPN for 2 years in Charlotte, not even. And then went to the Courage, got furloughed after 4 weeks. COVID hit. Was unemployed for the whole COVID. And that's really when it hit me of like the identity crisis of like, do I even want to work in sports if it's this fragile? Like, hopefully a pandemic doesn't happen again in my lifetime, but still. And I really had to sit in, what do I really want to do? And then I got a phone call from the Courage a year later that they wanted me back. So lived there for 18 months, then moved to Chicago, worked there for literally, I hit an 18-month mark almost everywhere I've been. And now I'm here in San Diego about to hit my 18-month mark. And I'm like, this is so nice that I feel so comfortable in a good way. Yeah. And I no longer feel like comfortability is complacency, because I always feel like, no, I need a new challenge. I loved the challenge of starting fresh in a new city, making new friends.
That's all you knew.
It's all I knew. Yeah.
And that would be so many people's nightmare.
Yeah.
But you learned how to do that from a young age as well. Yeah. So again, it's so much of that, like, what is comfort to you? And sometimes the chaos is the comfort.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like that's what, as we get into our 30s.
Yep.
And maybe as millennials across the board, and just like, we don't all have jobs for as long as our parents did. It's just a different setup. It's just a different setup.
Oh, I've really had to educate my parents, and they understand it now, but for a long time they were like freaked out by like, ooh, on the resume it doesn't look too good to be jumping around jobs. But it's because they came from the medical field and the military, where for my dad especially, like, he didn't get to choose the jobs that he had for the most part. It was told to him what he was going to be doing, where he was going to be going. And so they really had to learn the sports and media world, and this day and age, how quickly there's turnover. To make it to wherever you want to be career-wise, you do have to move around a lot. Yeah. But then I get to this place where I'm like, oh no, like, I actually really like what I'm doing. I like the people I work with. I like where I live. That's almost scary to me. Like, oh no, I need to stay. Yeah. And it's refreshing, but it's also scary because it's new territory for me. I haven't stayed somewhere for a long period of time.
Like, this might be the first time that you break into month 19.
Yeah. I've never seen month 19. That's crazy.
I don't even know what month 19 looks like.
Exactly.
Oh, she's new.
New territory.
She's new.
It's so wild, but I'm like,
I love it.
You know, it's a good thing, because I think month 19 and beyond could, you know, hopefully, I would love to be in a relationship. I've been single for a long time because I'm constantly moving around, and I am excited to be able to, like, enjoy the fruits of my labor of the friendships that I've made, because I feel like you hit an 18-month mark somewhere and you've got your rhythm, and you've got your friends, and you've got your people. And I've had to up and move, because career was always my first priority. Yeah. Relationships, I knew people that I was close with would be fine. They'd stay strong. Yeah. But career was always my motivation. That was my first choice. Whereas now, like I said about my 2025 New Year's resolution of it, like, really pouring a lot of energy into my buckets outside of work. But I'm like, I don't even know what those buckets look like. Like, literally, who am I outside of my job? Because I've been so defined by it. And people who work in sports also know, and plenty of other careers are like this. It's not a 9 to 5. It takes over my life. It's on my weekends. It's on my holidays. I love it enough that I allow it to take over my life in that way. Right. But that makes it really hard to figure out who I am outside of that, because I'm like, I don't know those windows of time that are, like, outside of the job. There's not a lot of them. And
for you too, your athlete identity and your work identity now are still entirely entwined. Yeah. Right. So again, it's also that piece of, like, those things are a part of you, but there's more of you too.
Yeah. Yeah. The identity piece. Yeah. And I've leaned into, I'm a big extracurricular girly. So I love signing up for fun. It started out as sports. I was signing up for volleyball. I was just going to say, are all your
extracurriculars sports?
So now I'm an improv girly. Oh! I have been doing improv actually since 2018. Stop. Yeah. So it was my first time I ever moved out of DC after college, where I had been hanging out with my college friends, going to the same bars. Yeah. So fun. Love them. But I remember moving for the first time as an adult and realizing I don't know anyone here, and no one here knows me. They're not going to know any different if I go and sign up for this theater that I've deep down always wanted to do. But as an athlete, you're the sports girl. You don't, those are two separate worlds.
Cross the line. No, those people. We're not looking for a Troy Bolton over here. We're not looking for a Troy Bolton. Stay in your box. Stay in your box, I'm like, please.
I am Troy.
I am Troy. You are Troy.
I want to be Troy. Literally. So I turned into Troy.
I love.
Because especially in my high school, it was very separate. Like, the theater kids and the athletes. Whereas there were some public schools in our area. We went to private Catholic school. Bro, that's why I'm in therapy. But That's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole episode.
But I would hear about other public schools that the athletes also were in theater. And deep down, I was like, that's so cool. I'm like, I want to do that. And as an adult in a new city, I'm all of a sudden like Googling like improv, like in incognito search. So no one knows that I'm looking for a theater.
For all the people that are checking my search history.
Yeah. If this were to ever be publicized, would hate for them to see. It's like, you're not looking up porn. You're literally looking
You're looking up an improv theater.
Like, no one can see that. I have to sign up for my sports teams. So I started doing improv purely for the sake of a mix of a couple things. I thought I wanted to be a stand-up comedian.
Love.
A microphone's a microphone. Like, maybe I can find it in other avenues. But I thought that would be my, like, outlet for that. And then I signed up for it, and I didn't realize it is very much a team sport. And it actually brought me back to being a part of a team, going out and doing something that scared all of us. The show's over, and you bond so closely with your teammates because you just did that scary thing. And with improv, what I love about it is you're setting other people up for success too. And that's why I liked it better than stand-up, which I dabbled in like 2 times.
Love.
But that felt very isolating. That was like a solo sport, individual sport. Whereas improv to me felt like I was back on my team. And like what I learned initially in improv, because the scary thing is like, oh God, you're supposed to be funny. Like that's the expectation, is like, you have to be funny. And my first teacher taught us, like, don't try to be the funny guy.
No.
You can be the straight man that they call it, which is like, you're not trying to say the punchline, say the jokes, but you're setting someone else up. That's an even better feeling. Like giving the assist, I love that piece of it because it takes the pressure off, but you get to set someone else up for success.
Yeah.
So this is now my world that I'm very proud to talk about. And I am out here in every city I've moved to. I've joined a theater. So I've did it in Charlotte, Raleigh, Chicago, and now here. And it does, in a selfish, not former athlete way, it brings me back to, being a part of a team.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's like it makes sense. We gravitated towards those things for a reason. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it a lot vaguely. What do you do? Yeah. What's your job?
Oh, well, yes. So my job title right now on paper is Director of Communications and Club Reporter for the San Diego Wave. So with that, I am really proud to be able to say that title because I kind of like made it up a little bit. But I curated this role that I think you can't just Google that. Like that's not like a job posting. That's something that is bits and pieces of every job I've had in the past that I have put together experiences and skills to be at a point where I was like poached to come here because of people I'd worked with and experiences that I've had that I knew since college that I wanted to do sports broadcasting. Like that was my dream. I wanted to be the next Erin Andrews. I did sideline reporting in college and everything like that. And it wasn't until I kind of had my identity crisis during COVID that I thought like there's actually so much more I want to tell, like stories I want to tell about sports that's not the score of the game, the strategies, the plays. Like to me, where I felt like fire light up inside of me was hearing the stories of athletes and who they are off the field and how they got to where they are and the struggles that they had been through. So I knew that that was really important to me. And so each job that I had been at, when I was at the Courage, I was the director of communications there, but I was like, let me start a podcast here. And so started a podcast there where I was interviewing the players, and that wasn't part of my job description, but I just knew I loved that. And each place I went, I grew the bravery to speak up and say, I know this is what's in my job title, but here's what I really enjoy and what I had to PR it and say what I think would be really good for the club.
Yeah, of course.
If I took on a project like this. And so I was constantly like having to proactively do that at jobs. Whereas then I was at the Chicago Fire, again, just worked in PR, but this is a mix of putting myself in positions, but also getting really lucky that at that time, that year, MLS had announced a partnership with Apple TV. Every club was required to do a training report. And I spoke up. I'm like, I could be that. Like I could do that project. Yeah. But it was really scared for me to advocate for myself.
Yeah.
Because I also learned in the sports broadcasting world that it's scary to say that you want to be the one on camera because it feels a little bit self-promoty. There's a stigma around that, especially as women too. And there's a lot of badass women that do this, but I think for a long time, women in front of the camera were just looked at like a beautiful woman that is fed lines.
Yes.
But I was like, I want to be in the group of women that exist that are really passionate. They are like telling the stories of these athletes, and it's not about the outfit they're wearing.
And you're telling the behind the scenes moments and really giving the detail.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not about like just slapping a pretty face on a camera.
Yeah.
So when I was at the fire, I spoke up, said that, and they gave me a chance, and I did that. I was so grateful that they let me do that. And then someone at the San Diego Wave noticed that there was someone I had worked with before, and she's like, we want you to do what you're doing here with the Wave. And I knew that I eventually wanted to be back in women's soccer. I was like, this is so cool that everything that I had like been advocating for myself was recognized, and now I'm being asked to do this versus me having to ask to do it. So my job now, half of it is PR. So I'm helping tell the stories of these athletes, which I never thought I was going to work in PR. Got there because of being in some other unfortunate situations, working at the Courage, dealing with abuse allegations and things like that it
was not in your job title at the time.
No.
But all of a sudden fell onto your lap.
Yeah.
And you had to handle on behalf of the club.
Yes. And I realized like, oh no, I think I have a knack for this as well. A little bit of like, it's advocacy for players. And I felt it was such a shitty situation, but I look back and feel so lucky that I got to be in a position to feel like I helped in a tiny way. Yeah. And so then I'm like, oh shit, I'm kind of decent at this, which is hard to admit too. Yeah. As an athlete, you're not supposed to talk about.
Well, that wasn't in your plan.
Right. No.
That wasn't in your plan. That wasn't what you were trying to do. Hold up.
Not at all. No, I was like, no, I don't want to get PR.
This feels out of my control because it wasn't on the radar.
Yes, exactly. And so I had played like a team reach out and say, no, we want you to do this PR stuff as well as the reportery stuff. I'm like, this is so sick that I get to combine these two things. And so in the PR role, I was saying this the other day, it feels like a salesman job where I am close to the players, where I get to hear their stories. And then I'm like, that is such a good story. I think they should tell it. Mm-hmm. So I love that piece of it. And then I feel so lucky that I also get to put on my reporter hat and also conduct the interviews and tell the stories. So I just like kind of created this job that is like exactly what I feel like I'm meant to be doing right now. And I want to add that caveat in my brain out loud that this isn't my forever, and that's okay. But right now, like, you can sit in this and you can enjoy the journey that you took to get here. Yes. It was a long one.
Yes.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
It's all the no former athlete pieces together, and it's the ambition, but the learning to rest. Is there anything else you want to put out into the world?
Oh my gosh. I feel like we covered a lot.
We did.
Yes. I love what you guys are doing. These are conversations that I think are so freaking important. Yeah. And I think so many people are helped by hearing these conversations and feeling seen and heard, which is so important. So I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Ta-da!
And that's a wrap.